Hi, this is Rachel from Ray K Books, and today I'm going to be interviewing Tina Moss. Hello, Tina.
Hello.
So, today we're going to be talking about A Touch of Darkness. Can you please tell everyone what the synopsis is?
Yes, this book is centering on the angel and demon mythology with a big twist. It features Cassie, and she is a hostess with a very unique ability that she doesn't know how to control. Mostly her hands turn purple at very inopportune times. Kind of a problem when you're in a big city hiding that kind of secret. Her best friend Zoe is always trying to help her, but no matter what they do, no matter who they go to, they cannot seem to solve this problem. So our story opens up with them having run the gauntlet of medical doctors and looking for psychic help, which doesn't turn out too well for them. And very quickly, our mysterious hero figure comes into the picture with some answers for Cassie in a very unlikely scenario, and it kind of unravels from there. We're calling it urban fantasy. It does have a very strong romantic subplot, though, and mystery involved, too. So it's a bit of a mix of genres.
Great. It sounds really interesting. So I'm excited to pick it up.
Thank
And so
you.
we're going to go with a Twitter question. And the first one is from Nicola. And the question is, now that Touch of Darkness is getting such recognition, do you feel a sense of pressure to reproduce?
Thank you, Nick. And yes, we definitely do. We have a short story sequel spin-off, I suppose you could say it, coming out in August. It's another charity anthology that we did with a group called Romance Divas. And the story is called Embracing Darkness. That will come out very soon. And then next year, we will hopefully have 2 sequels ready to go at the beginning of next year that we're very excited about. So the recognition is great, and we're thankful for it. The pressure, yeah, there's a little bit of pressure, too.
So what do you do for the pressure?
I was going to say drink wine, but that seems very inappropriate. No, we just keep writing and hoping that we're pleasing readers and doing our best to make each book stronger than the last.
Another question is from Nightvale, and that is, when do you know when you're done? When do you get to write the end?
I love that question. It's so great. As my dear co-author would tell you, I never like to write the end. I am an editing freak, and I'm pretty sure that A Touch of Darkness went through, oh boy, I believe it was 13 drafts by the time we
Wow.
actually went, yeah, to print with it. It was pretty heavily edited, and at the same time, I feel like I could go through 9 more times with it. So I am not one to ask when the end is, because I would say never. So it's got to be pried away from my fingers, pretty much.
And then another question is from Cal, and the question is your voice different when you're co-writing rather than solo, or does it feel the same?
My voice has definitely been influenced since the co-writing experience with Yelena. I think it's gotten much stronger. When we first started writing, she was and is still a very strong prose writer. She's a great world builder. She has this ability to take scenes and just make them beautiful and detailed. And I was a much more sparse writer. I like dialogue, I like characters, but I never really created strong worlds until I started co-writing with her. So going into my solo projects, I think I've become a much stronger and better writer for the co-writing experience.
So how did you get to write with her? Like, did you guys just meet and you thought it'd be good to partner up, or were you put together by your publisher?
We were friends that met in our karate dojo, and we went through training together. She was my sparring partner for many years and is now actually my sensei. She's ahead of me now. And we just came across this writing. We didn't know that the other one wrote, and we started to talk about writing and books that we liked, and it turns out that we both already wrote. So we thought, oh, why, it would be a lot of fun to write together. Let's try it. And we had plans originally to just do exercises, you know, writing back and forth little snippets to each other. But suddenly this story just came along. It was a character that I had been thinking about for several years, and I told the idea to Yelena, and she kind of just ran with it and created this world around this character, and the story just bloomed, and we said we have to write it.
And then another question is from Holly, and she says, when did you start karate? Can you tell a little background on this karate question?
Sure. I started karate 11 years ago. I was looking for a karate studio for several years before that. I was 19 when I started karate, so that will give up my age, but that's okay. And they had just opened up a new school, and I decided to give it a try. My cousin at the time was very young and wanted to try too, so I said, I'll go with you and make it easier. Well, it turns out he quit, and I ended up staying with it and loved it. That's where Elaine and I met. She met her husband there and married her husband at karate, so it's become this whole second family.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm glad that it is a second family. That's a great story. So what books have most influenced your life?
Oh, my gosh. Well, that would be a 10-hour question for me to answer. Just some of the authors in my genre that I can think off the top of my head: Nalini Singh, Janine Frost, Patricia Briggs, Alona Andrews. I'm going to forget 9,000, all of their series. I love the Psy Changeling series. It's one of my favorites from Nalini Singh. Marjorie Liu, Kelly Armstrong. And, of course, one of my all-time favorites is the Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit. When that first came out in movie form, I believe I saw the movies, like, I don't know, something like a ridiculous amount of times in the theater, like 15 times or something, each movie. I love the movie adaptations, love the books, and that really got me into fantasy and world building. And then our more modern authors got me into developing characters.
And what is the easiest and the hardest thing about writing?
The easiest thing about writing is character voices. I love to create really round, interesting characters. The hardest thing about writing is finding time to do it.
And then, if you had to choose, which writer would you consider a mentor?
Ooh. I've been very fortunate to meet amazing, spectacular writers. I don't know. There's just too many to choose from to have one mentor. I think some local people that have influenced me would be Heather McCorkle, T. Tate, Tracy Martin. Tracy Martin, it just came out with Wicked Misery recently. It's an urban fantasy. It's incredible. I've had the privilege to know her for many years, and to finally see her book come out is amazing because she's wonderful.
Is there a message in your novel that you want readers to grasp in A Touch of Darkness?
I hope that they grasp the concept that we really didn't want to go with a straight kind of religious angel-demon mythology. We wanted to show the world in very gray terms and to show that it's not black and white. Some of our most evil characters in the books are actually human, and some of our most human characters in the books are actually demons. We really wanted to turn the whole idea on its head, so really to show that the world is just not one-dimensional.
So give us an insight on your main character. What does she do that's so unique?
She's a fighter. I think that's the most unique thing about her, that no matter what is thrown at her, I mean, imagine, you know, she's in her late 20s, and she's been dealing with this affliction all of her life, and she's never given up. I mean, if it was me in that situation, I would have just thrown in the towel years ago and said, heck with it, I'm crazy, that's it. And she doesn't. No matter what's thrown at her, she just keeps fighting and keeps trying her best, and I think that's really what makes her unique.
Which actress would you see playing the lead?
It's funny, I've always seen Kristen, and I believe, I can never pronounce her last name, I think it's Kruk, Kreuk. She was in Smallville years ago, and she's in Beauty and the Beast now, both CW show. I think it's CW now. CW show.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing. Do you watch it?
Yeah, I do. I think I watch it mostly because I think she's an amazing actress, and she'd play like a perfect Cassie. So she's been in my head a while, and the main guy isn't too bad to look at. So.
Is it the first season? I forget.
I think they're in their third season already. It moved to a summer show. Yeah.
Oh my God! Already?
Yeah, crazy, right? I know.
Okay. Well, anyway.
It's okay, but
yeah, we're getting a little off topic. So, where does your inspiration come from?
I think inspiration comes from a lot of different sources. I read a lot, I watch a lot, but also from New York City itself. I'm very fortunate to grow up here and be very familiar with this city, and any sort of people watching on a New York City subway will give you more than enough inspiration for novels.
Do you live in New York?
I actually live just outside of Manhattan in Brooklyn.
I just moved to New York, so I get what you're saying. I know. So now I can get these references. I'm excited. So anyway, how much research did you do for A Touch of Darkness?
Let me think. We definitely did research, not so much for New York, other than making sure, okay, is that the train that they're going to take? Yeah, that's the train, because we're both, New Yorkers, so we're pretty familiar with the city. We did research for there's a lot of different settings in A Touch of Darkness. We did research for Las Vegas. We did research on the Grand Canyon. Without giving too much away, there's a couple of places that they go that are important to the book. So we did research on the settings.
And so how does co-writing actually work? Because I don't actually know this. So you write a chapter and then she writes a chapter? Like, how does this work, really?
We had to work out our method in the beginning, and it was a little bit of trial and error, but we finally came up with, I always plot 6 chapters ahead, and she's a pantser, so she's not of the plotting mindset, but I kind of got her on board with that, and we had to have some sort of plan to go together. So we would do 6 chapters ahead, plotting, and then we'd each write a chapter. So let's say I would write chapter 1, she would know what was happening in chapter 1, and then she'd write chapter 2, and we'd switch, and I would add my unique touches to her chapter, and she would add her unique touches to mine, and it would enable us to blend our voice together into one. Hopefully.
Did you guys ever get in disagreements at all? Like, I don't like where this character is headed or something like that?
Very, very rarely. If we did disagree at all, it was we had to compromise and come to terms. The one thing I say to anybody that wants to co-write is you 100% have to leave your ego at the door. There is no room for it in co-writing. You'll just never get past the first page.
And who would you like to co-write with next?
Ooh. Well, definitely have to stick with Yelena. We enjoy working together, and we're set for more sequels, but I think if I could co-write with anybody else, she's going to be so embarrassed that I said this, but I'm going to give a shout-out to Tracy Martin again, because she doesn't need me, but I would love to work with her because she's amazing.
So, any tips on how to get through the dreaded writer's block?
It's funny. Some people don't believe in writer's block, and I kind of go back and forth on whether I do. I've been there, so I know that writer's block does exist. But the only thing that I can really say is just to keep writing. Even if you're just spewing the words onto the page and you don't use any of it, the only way to push past it is to, open the computer, put your hands on the keys, and just write.
So the next questions are going to be team questions.
Oh.
The first one is, are you team Edward or Jacob from Twilight?
Okay, this is slightly embarrassing because when I first watched Twilight, Jacob was not of an appropriate age for me. I kind of felt like Mrs. Robinson. So I did not say that I was Team Jacob until the actor turned 18. But I have to say Team Jacob, Taylor Lautner is just absolutely adorable, and I like Jacob in the books as well.
No, I don't think you're the only person who wants to crush on a celebrity, but just feels so creepy.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
You're so creeped out.
And my brother is the same age, which makes it even worse when I think about it that way.
Oh. Well, anyway, the second question is, are you Team Gale or Peeta from the Hunger Games?
Oh, I was Team Peeta. I like the nice boy, and he's just, how could you not be? Oh, he was just everything for Katniss. Like, Gale's got the fire, but Peeta was just giving up everything. I gotta go with him.
So both of these were books turned movie. So what's your favorite book turned movie?
I said it before. It's definitely the Lord of the Rings adaptation. That I think Peter Jackson was just masterful in that, because that is a hard book to make into movies.
So now we're going to be playing a game called Would You Rather. And for those of you who don't know, Would You Rather is I would ask Tina something like, would you rather eat apples or oranges for the rest of your life? And then she'd have to say apples or oranges. Except this is literature edition.
Ah, okay.
So there's a twist for this one. And the first is, would you rather live in the world of Hunger Games or Divergent?
Okay, I'm going to say Hunger Games, but I would be the girl who would have no problem going out on, like, mass killing spree and getting everybody to begin with. Yep, I'm a little crazy like that, but I'd end up eating the poison berries on accident. So
Oh,
that
you're
was
one of those.
I think the Hunger Games is a very interesting world. Divergent, absolutely too, but I'm going to go with the Hunger Games for that reason.
The second one is, would you rather fight next to Hermione from Harry Potter, Katniss from Hunger Games, or Tris for Divergent?
Katniss and Tris would show me up. I got to go with Hermione because she would want to be my friend.
And then, would you rather read a book that is written poorly but has an excellent story, or read one with weak content but is written well?
Ooh, that's a tough one because the editor inside of me and the English teacher inside of me is going, oh my gosh, a poorly written story. But honestly, a good storyteller can get away with poorly written, but if the story's not there, it's not going to work.
And then the next one is, who would you rather have as a child, Harry Potter or Hermione Granger?
Ooh. I think I gotta go with Hermione again because she's so darn smart. She would just always be challenging me.
And then the fifth one, would you rather write novels where all the characters are women or all men for the rest of your writing career?
Oh, these are great questions.
Thank you.
Well, I was kind of a tomboy, and I grew up with all boys, and I like to get inside the male psyche and try to figure out this strange male race of ours. And they are a different species. They're a different species, I'm convinced. Women's heads, I think, would be a lot of fun, but males' heads would be more challenging for me, more interesting, so I have to go with all guys.
I like that. You go for the challenge.
That's exactly.
Good. So the next one, would you rather only write books in trilogies or standalones?
I like books in trilogies, and again, I think it's more challenging than standalone to keep a world fresh book after book and to stay with the same characters or to even go into different characters in the same world. Again, it's the challenge, so I'd have to go with trilogies.
Would you rather write a book without using conjunctions or have every sentence of your book begin with one?
Oh my god! Well, okay, I do have the Star Trek nerd gene, so if I go without conjunctions, I'm basically writing a book from Data's point of view, so I go with that one.
Would you rather write a plot twist you hated or write a character you hated?
Plot twist, easy. I am a character girl.
And then the second to last one, would you rather a super successful movie be made from one of your books or a long-lasting television series?
Oh my goodness. I have to go with the long-lasting television series because then I could keep watching it.
And then the last one is, would you rather critics rip your book apart publicly or never talk about it at all?
Rip it apart, baby. But if you're gonna do it, I keep saying, I keep waiting for it. The GIFs. I want, or they're called GIFs. GIFs or
Yeah,
GIFs?
GIFs.
GIFs. I want the GIF pictures. I want a review with GIF pictures. That's all I ask for in the world. If you're gonna rip it apart, use the GIFs.
I totally agree. Have you seen the review of what's that book becoming a movie? Where it's a sex book, 50 Shades.
Oh God, yes, they're so great.
I love. That's my favorite review because just the GIFs make it so entertaining.
Yes, they do, exactly. And there's a thing that they say that no publicity is bad publicity. So if you're, like I said, if you're gonna rip it apart, just use the GIFs.
Totally agree with you. And that is the end of Would You Rather. Yeah! Round of applause. You did very well.
Oh, thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Good. Okay, so my next question actually has to be about critics, and also has to be about Goodreads, because there's this battle going on between authors and reviewers. Authors tend to interact with reviewers, good or bad reviews, and there's a lot of controversy because people are saying, hey, I have a right to my own opinion,
Yep.
And it's just meshing, and it's not good. So what are your thoughts on commenting on reviews?
It's a very slippery slope for authors because honestly, I just want to go to every review and be like, "You read the book, you're awesome, thank you." I don't care if you hated it. Honestly, I'm sorry that you hated it, but you read it and you wrote about it. That's awesome. But I clearly don't do that because I don't want to get yelled at, and frankly, my place isn't there. My place is not with reviews. The reviews are for readers. I am thankful, and I know Yelena is too, for every single one of them. It's if you want to leave a negative review on A Touch of Darkness, would I rather it be positive? Sure. If you didn't like the book, though, and you want to tell people that you didn't like it, that's okay. That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. So, reviewers.
And then we're going to play a second game now.
Okay.
And the second game is called Fill in the Blank with the first word that pops into your head.
Oh, I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I'm going to say a sentence, and then when I say blank, you have to think of one word, and it has to be the first word that pops into your head.
Okay.
It can be really stupid, or it can be sense.
Okay.
So the first one is, when I first sit down to write, I blank.
Blank out.
When I write, I have to have blank.
My laptop.
Has to be one word. So I guess laptop.
Oh, laptop, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. When creating a new character, I want them to have blank.
Individuality.
All great mysteries have to have blank.
Nothing's popping in my head. Substance?
That works. That works. I don't like a book when it has blank.
Dullness, which is not a word.
We'll make it a word. That's fine. And then the next one is, when I read a bad review of my book, I blank.
GIFs! I know it makes no sense, but that's all I think of.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And then the last one is, my character reaches out of the pages, takes my hand, and I blank.
Run with it, but I can't say more than one.
Run. And that is our game. Thank you so much. Yay! Again, did very well. So.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So, okay, we have a little bit more time left. We have 7 minutes, so I guess we're going to go with more questions, because I don't have any more games for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. So, are you a Game of Thrones lover?
Yes. I haven't read all of the books. I read the first book and maybe the second book. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But I love this show. So I didn't want to read ahead because I wanted to watch the show and be surprised.
Who's your favorite character and why?
Tyrion. Tyrion, because Peter Dinklage is amazing.
And yeah, I'm not really a Game of Thrones fan, but I love hearing other people's character views and what they think, and they're just so like into it. And I when I talk to you about it, your voice like rises, and you have a lot of excitement. So I know that you're a big fan.
It's definitely this like living thing. I feel like every couple of years we get a show like that. I feel like True Blood was kind of like that when it first came out. Walking Dead is like that. There's just these big kind of epic shows that people really get into.
And so, what draws you to the genre that you write in?
Jeanine Frost, her first book, I think it's a Halfway to the Grave is her first one. It's the Cat and Bones series, or technically it's called the Night Huntress series. Nobody really calls it that. Was the first book that I can remember reading in urban fantasy paranormal genre. And funny enough, although I hope Jeanine Frost never actually watches this, I didn't like first. I got 50 pages in, and Ina had lent me the book, and I said, Yelena, you're out of your mind. I'm not reading this. It's terrible, blah, 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 blah. Fully, take that back now, because I did finish the book and ended up loving it in every single book in her series since then. But she was the first one that I can really remember reading urban fantasy, and then I just devoured the genre.
And what is the genre that you want to write in next, and what's one you never want to write in?
This is funny because the answer is the same for both. I never wanted to write in contemporary romance because I figured, I deal with life, I deal with contemporary life all the time. I just want to write in this crazy paranormal fantasy world forever. My agent at the time said, well, new adult contemporary romance is really where it's at. You should give it a try. And I was immediately like, no, I'm never writing that. And of course, the way that things work, that night I was up the whole night because this idea for a new adult contemporary romance would not leave me alone, and I had to write it, and that's actually the one that I'm working on now and in the process of finishing, so never say never.
So speaking of that, what are some upcoming books, and can you talk about them yet, or is it too early in the process?
We can sort of talk about them now. We're making a few changes. A Touch of Darkness, actually, if you get a copy now, is going to be a limited edition copy because, yeah, we are rebranding it next year. It's going to come out again next year with a new cover, possibly a new blurb and some new excerpts in it. And the excerpts will be for the 2 sequels that we are hoping to come out at the beginning of next year also, and the short story. My solo project, which starts with Code Black, it's the first book in a paranormal romantic suspense series, will hopefully come out toward the end of next year, but that's still kind of a work in progress, so we'll see on that.
How long does it take you to finish a book?
Again, this goes back to when is it the end question. I can write a book realistically, I'd say within 5 months if I'm successfully churning out words like I can do. But then there's the whole editing process, which can take me, should take me a week or 2. It probably takes me a month or 2 because of how neurotic I am with editing. So from start to finish, I would say 7 months.
And do you think it's harder timeline-wise to collab with someone, or do you find it a little like you can work faster alone?
Our first project, which actually was A Touch of Darkness, took us a year to write. And that was because we were finding our way and trying to see what worked and what didn't between us. Now, realistically, that we've done this together and we have another project that we've worked on, we should be able to do this in a much faster timeline. So if we're both working on one chapter at a time, we're actually speeding up the timeline than if we're writing books separately.
And you said that you were repackaging your book. Is there a specific reason for that?
That's kind of hush-hush right now, but I will be I'll be able to share more of that within the next month or so.
And is there anything specific that you want to say to your readers?
I love you. I love you so much. Every reader that I've met in person or online has just been absolutely fantastic. Elena and I so appreciate you, and thank you, and we love your reviews. Like I said, whether good or bad, does not matter. The fact that you took the time to read our book and write it is amazing to us, so just thank you.
And then the last question before I talk about the giveaway, because Tina is giving away 2 books, so stay tuned a second. The last question is, do you have any advice for aspiring writers?
Yes. Keep writing. Have a very thick skin. It is a hard industry. Whether you decide to go the traditional publishing route or you go indie author, regardless, you're going to get some type of rejection along the way. If you're an indie author and you say, I never want to deal with agents, I never want to deal with traditional editors, you're still going to get negative reviews. It happens to everyone. Develop a thick skin. Keep writing. Remember, reviews aren't for you. Rejections aren't personal.
And now we're going to talk about the giveaway. Okay, so Tina is giving away 2 books to 2 separate winners. A Touch of Darkness, which is her newest novel, and then Winter Wonders, which is a
charity anthology.
Right. So this is international. The international people, which means Canada and across the sea, are going to get ebooks, and then if you live in the U.S., you can get a hard copy. In order to be eligible to win, you need to, first off, this live chat thing will be a YouTube video. So once it becomes a YouTube video, comment on that video. And then the second thing, and this is optional because not everybody has a Twitter, but follow Tina on Twitter. And I will put in the description her Twitter name. And if you do follow her, please put your username in the comment so I can verify the entry. And this ends next Monday, which I don't know what next Monday is, but look at the upload date and you'll see if it's that Monday or not. So that's it. Thank you so much, Tina. This was fun.
Thank you. I will say if U.S. winners prefer an ebook, I'm flexible and I will happily give you one of those instead. Up to you.
Awesome. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you later.
Yay! Bye. Bye.